Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Dawson County Board of Commissioners work session today is Thursday, December the 19th, 2024. Appreciate everybody that's with us in attendance, as well as those that are with us online. We'll get right into the new business. First up, we have informational presentation of closing the Satellite Branch Library, Chestatee Regional Library System Director, Leslie Clark. Ms. Clark.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. It is sad that we have come to the decision to close the satellite library at Fire Station 2. What began as a financial looking at to reduce costs became, as we did informational, realized that the patrons that called satellite their library, less than 40% of them actually live in Dawson County. And so when we looked at it, and then even adding in Lumpkin, because we're a 2-county system, it still didn't go up very high. It went from like 38 to 39 point something. Contrasting that with the main branch, where Dawson has 81%, the main branch has 81% living in Dawson County. When you add Lumpkin County to it, our 2-county system, it goes up to 86, almost 87. So that has, and normally we would like to do this a little slower to give the citizens and the patrons and everybody time, and we planned on doing this through attrition. However, we had a 19-hour circulation staff member leave at the end of October, and then we had our 28-hour children's specialist her last day is today. So that's leaving a 47-hour deficit in the main branch, which is just not becomes insurmountable for Stacy and her crew. So we made the hard decision to go ahead and close it December 31st and move that staff member to the main branch. To be able to staff in the place, and we could do everything through attrition. The request I do have is we'd like to keep the space through renovations of the main library. That way, when the main library has to close for the carpet and paint and those things from the renovation, that we would have a place to go pick up the holds and have some continuity of services for the citizens of Dawson County. Right now, Pines, which is what we're a part of, can mask the collection, move all the patrons to Dawson, and then when we need to use it, when we close the main branch, which we know is inevitable, they can unmask it so patrons have a place to pick up holds and a small browsing collection at that time. And then once it's all renovations are complete, give us a couple weeks to remove the shelving and all the materials and transfer them back to the main branch. And then be able to vacate the premises and give it back to the county, which of course is a county-owned space.
Questions for Ms. Clark? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have presentation of RFP number 458-24, Construction Services, Jail Booking and Lobby of Law Enforcement Center results. Sheriff Chief Deputy Greg Rowan and Purchasing Manager Melissa Hawk. Miss Melissa, you going to do that?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. They are all doing the shop with the cop today, so they asked me to come in and do this. Please bear with me as I'm trying to get through this cold. We'll go ahead and get started. So previously, the board had approved $3 million for the security upgrades for the courthouse and the jail law enforcement center. The electronic portion of this upgrade was completed back in July of 2024. We waited until that was done to make sure all change orders were completed so we'd know what we actually had left over for this portion that you're going to see tonight. And it was part of the original RFP that was released back in 2021, but the cost was so far out of our range that we decided to remove it from that particular contract and try to rebid it at a different time. Excuse me. So, of course, we did this according to policy and we received 2 proposals. This is our evaluation committee. It was all comprised with the Sheriff's Office staff, and we had Major Rowan, Captain Davis, and Lieutenant Kirby. This is a broad scope overview of the work that's going to be done. It was broken down into 2 different tasks. One of the tasks is to enclose the jail booking area. It will be a secured room with a protective walls and glass with just a little bit of room for them to put paper back and forth with their arrestees and the jail staff. They'll also have millwork created to complete the cabinets that they're going to need in there. Excuse me. The task 2 is to remove the current area for attorney and video visitation, create a space for public fingerprinting and bonding window, create a new space for video visitation and attorney meeting area that's going to be in a separate area, and construct a new GIC office. And where the current video visitation and attorney visitation is now, that's all going to be removed, and the GCIC room will move out into that space, and it will all be enclosed with a key code and that sort of thing to access. A small office will also be created in the space so that whenever a sheriff's office needs to talk to a witness or someone such as that, they'll have a secure area to go there with a glass partition in between the two chairs so that they can do their interviews. So here you see both proposers' total scores, and that you do see that Smith-Built and Scroggs and Grizzle has the same score of 81, but Smith-Built had the higher score on the cost of 25. It's because their pricing was almost $100,000 difference. And as we know, we're charged to award a contract to the responsive and responsible offer in writing to be the most advantageous for the county when you do a request for proposal. And with that being said, you see here that Smith-Built offered a total cost of $688,000. This is to do all 20 divisions for construction and 9 additional general conditions for the total delivery of the turnkey project. And as we stated earlier, we do have money left over for this project, and so the staff respectfully requests the board to accept proposals received, award a contract to Smith-Built Construction in the amount of $688,000, and we'll be using the remainder of the SPLOST 7 funds and additional funds out of the jail fund, which will be less than $300.
Questions for Melissa? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next up, we have presentation of agreement between Dawson County and Northeast Georgia Physicians Group concerning use of clinical sites for EMT students. Emergency Services Division Chief of EMS and Administration, Michael Shurey. Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I have before you a contract with Northeast Georgia Physician Group, which runs urgent care on Prestige Lane. This will give our students an in-facility patient experience versus on the ambulances as well. As you know, we have 10 EMT students currently in school right now and fixing to start their clinicals, so this would be extremely advantageous for them.
Questions for Michael? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You have the next one too.
Yes, sir.
Presentation of renewal of agreement between Dawson County and Lanier Technical College concerning third riders on ambulances. And then Michael, go ahead.
This agreement is just a renewal of the contract that Dawson County and Lanier Tech have previously had. The current contract goes out January 1st, 2025. This will renew it till 2030. This will let Lanier Tech's EMT and paramedic students ride with our ambulance crews, getting the clinical experience they need to meet state requirements and graduate their program.
Will this need to be approved tonight in order, since it expires at the end of this month?
It doesn't. This one doesn't have to
Okay.
be.
Okay.
One of the prior contracts that we were presented, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, there was some ambiguity in the insurance requirements and stipulations, and ensuring that the contract had the hold harmless for the county.
Yes,
Has
sir.
that been reviewed with legal?
Yes, sir, it has.
Thank you.
Other questions for Michael? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, we have presentation proposed 2025 local maintenance and improvement grant application for Shoal Creek Road and request for Georgia Department of Transportation funding. Public Works Director Robert Drury. Robert.
Afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As you know, about this time every year, come to the board seeking approval to proceed with the LMIG grant for the next year. So we're looking at 2025 LMIG grant. And just for reference, the DOT is wanting local governments to match 30% of the total grant costs. So I got a little PowerPoint. My recommendation is using Shoal Creek Road as a LMIG grant for 2025. And that's just a little aerial map to show you. We all know where Shoal Creek Road is. But the project itself will come from the historic courthouse, extend all the way to 136. And not to complicate things anymore, the bridge is being rebuilt and we got a roundabout going in. So the reason we're approaching you with this is because, the city and the county have an agreement. It's the settlement and release agreement from May of 2020. And in that agreement, the county is obligated to repave Shoal Creek Road from the courthouse to State Route 136. It was mutually agreed, mutually understood that the repaving of Shoal Creek Road would occur during either during construction of the new bridge or immediately following the construction of the new bridge. So here we are. And everyone knows we're going to close the road. They're going to close the road. And that's a great opportunity to do an FDR project because the traffic's going to be reduced significantly. However, both the city and the county agree, not unlike Bird Creek Road earlier this year, a simple repave is just not what that road needs. The road is in pretty bad condition. A lot of base failures up and down the road from one end to the other. So we all kind of agree a repaving as originally anticipated back in 2021 or 2020 was just a repave, and that's not the case. Also, Shoal Creek Road needs to have a consistent 24 foot of paving. Right now, the paving width on Shoal Creek Road is anywhere between 20 to 22 feet. The white stripe is right up in the edge of the pavement. We have a lot of problems where edge of pavement's been dropped off. It really is a dangerous condition. So we want to include a 2 foot paved safety shoulder. I've got a picture to show you with that in a minute. Based on cost estimates, staff has determined that a full depth reclamation was not only the least expensive option, as opposed to a deep patch and resurface, and building a 2 foot paved shoulder. A full depth reclamation will give you a long and lasting road bed, base, and surface. So not unlike what we did with Bird Creek Road, we had an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Dawsonville. And in that agreement, if you recall, the county was obligated to do the repaving. So we picked up that cost, and the city was willing to pick up the difference in that cost for an FDR, or in that case, it was a deep patch and paving. So I've already approached the city verbally. They're willing to move with that. And so I have asked the county attorney to prepare another IGA. And that'll be coming to you that'll be forthcoming. Just a couple pictures to show you Shoal Creek Road. Again, you can see the pavement distresses. Really look at the edge of the pavement and the problems we're having there. That is a really significant arterial out of the city to one of the arterial roads, State Route 136. So that's going to be, once the bridge is done, the roundabout's done, it's significant that we have a safe, reliable road that people can travel in and out of the city. And as a comparison, you see on Bird Creek Road, and this is actually in the city portion, there is a 2 foot paved safety shoulder. And that's kind of what we want to do on Shoal Creek Road. And that is the LMIG grant application. It's part of it anyway, where we're requesting money for the grant, and that'll be the attachment to it. As you can see, the county portion is well over 30% match. It's basically $600,000, in which a total $1.1 million project. But we will be getting $497,000 and some change from the DOT for this project. So that's it in a nutshell. We just asked the board to approve the LMIG 2025 project for full depth reclamation of Shoal Creek Road and request Georgia DOT funding.
Questions for Robert?
So from some clarification points, the 497 is LMIG funds, but also the city is going to make up the difference between the cost of just doing a pave and the full depth reclamation. So that is 97 plus some.
Correct.
And then also on our notes on your agenda form, it says staff plans to solicit bids for full depth reclamation on Shoal Creek Road from the city limits to State Route 136. My understanding is we're actually doing it from the old courthouse all the way to the 136.
Yeah, and to clarify that, you're correct. To clarify that, the LMIG grant is only for unincorporated counties. So when we describe that as an LMIG, it can only be from the unincorporated limits. Now, there is a skip point of about 1,000 feet past the bridge that is in the city as well. So it's kind of gapped. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Other questions for Rob?
I know with LMIG, we typically do like multiple roads, whatever we do, prioritize it, but this one is going to be the only one for this year.
That's correct. And that's what we did last year with Burr Creek Road as well.
Right. Okay. Do we have an opportunity to get more LMIG funds this year like we have in past years with like specialty LMIG funds? Have they talked about that at all?
It's only special monies that become available on the state level. But typically every other year they do a safety action grant. And so
But we did one last year, right?
we did one in 2023. So I'm kind of expecting
maybe do for one. Okay.
2025. I'm
Okay.
expecting to see one for there as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Can we make sure that the contractors that are already going to be mobilized at the roundabout and the bridge have the opportunity to know about this process?
Absolutely.
So there might be some cost savings there since they're already on site.
Very much. And that's a good point.
Other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have presentation of intergovernmental agreement with the City of Dawsonville and the Dawson County Board of Elections and Registration relating to the 2025 municipal elections for the City of Dawsonville. You have that agreement in your paperwork. It's something we do when the city has elections. They ran through the Board of Elections, so it requires an intergovernmental agreement. The city's already voted and approved this intergovernmental agreement, and so it'll be before us to vote on at our next meeting. Any other information needed in reference to that? Okay. Next up, we have presentation of board appointments of the Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals. Greg Brock, that's a reappointment. His term will be January 2025 through December 27. Roy Cunningham, reappointment, term January 25 through December 27. Chris Mead, reappointment, term January 2025 through December 2027. The Tax Assessor Board, Tom Kemp, that's a reappointment, term January 2025 through December 2027. And I'll present those to you for your consideration for those board appointments. All right, we'll move on to the county manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief. Your flash report is in your packet as usual this month, and we are going to be doing some updating on that next year. They will include the data related to T-Splosh collections. You'll see that a little different the next time you see that report. Also, a reminder that county offices will be closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as normal. And finally, I'd like to take a moment and if I can find my piece of paper, a little special recognition to one of our commissioners. We received notice from the Carl Vinson Institute of Government, which is a arm of the University of Georgia, which I think this commissioner will agree with me that that's a fine institution. Steph Stowers is being recognized by the University of Georgia and ACCG for his completion of all the courses and is now recognized as a certified county commissioner. This is a big deal. It's a lot of work on his part, a lot of online courses and in-person courses. He educates himself to be able to conduct this role even better. And we applaud him. And I just wanted to note to the board that we had received that documentation, and he's official now. Congratulations. And that's all I have. Still.
Questions of the county manager? County attorney report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We don't have any report this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, that takes us to the end of our work session.
If it pleases the board, I'd like to offer up that we move items 3 and 4 to our consent agenda for the next voting
7.
period. And yes, 7. Yep. Well, no, 3 and 4.
Okay, 3 and 4. Okay. Good with that?
Can we move on number 3? And this is more of a question because I think he alluded to the fact that it looks like they're going to start serving December 23rd or something. So do we need to move number 3 to tonight's voting session?
Just not
Yes, sir. We could go ahead and get that one.
because the contract there'd be a lapse.
There would be a lapse in contract on number 4 as well. We're willing to do consent on 3 and 4. Then let's just move both. Voting both to tonight voting session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Y'all good with that?
Before and
Okay.
Did they fill out my form?
All right. With that, that concludes our work session for this evening. We'll take about a 10-minute break and we'll be back for the voting session. Thank you for your attendance.